What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So there was a earnings call with the CEO David Zaslav for Warner Brothers Discovery, and we tend to kind of get some interesting information when these things happen. I just want to go over some of the things that were mentioned in the call. So he mentioned spending a lot of time with, James Gunn and Peter Safran, who will be leading DC Studios. Spent a lot of time over the past few months with James and Peter talking about our strategy and long-term plans for the future of DC across TV, animation, and film. They have a powerful vision and blueprint that will drive a more unified creative approach that will allow us to enable to the full value of one of the world's most iconic franchises. They are hard at work right now. He also said no one embodies this creative commitment more than our new heads at DC Studios, James Gunn and Peter Safran, who have said that running DC Studios is a passion project, not just a job. James is a brilliant storyteller who has the distinction of being the first and only filmmaker to direct a movie for both Marvel and DC. So they seem very happy so far with their decision of putting James Gunn and Peter Safran in these co-CEO positions. And it seems like David Zaslav at least is pleased with what they have discussed for the future of DC over the past few months leading up to them starting this position. They just started on the 1st, officially. Peter is a prolific producer whose credits include DC's highest-grossing movie Aquaman, as well as the entire Conjuring universe, the most successful horror franchise of all time. We could not be more thrilled to have them join our leadership team, and I'm excited for what is to come. He continued to say, in many ways, we have only begun to scratch the surface. James and Peter have a broad vision for DC storytelling and how it all fits together, and they plan to create even more compelling and unforgettable experiences for DC fans worldwide while building a sustainable growth business out of the iconic franchise. So it sounds like David Zaslav is very optimistic for what the future holds for DC, and we're going to go over a couple of other things that were mentioned in the call too. So Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom are all still on track to be released in 2023. So as of right now, those movies are still holding their current release dates. I'd be pretty surprised if any of them ended up, being moved around. Most likely not. Right now, they're still on track to be released next year. Now with this new leadership in place and kind of getting on track with their own plan for DC, I don't see why they would move them. They're probably going to keep them for the release dates that they have set. According to David Zaslav, they have unreleased content that could be made money in the future. I think it's supposed to say could make money in the future. And of course, that starts making people wonder about the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. Will we ever get to see that? I think James Gunn would be open to that. He said in the past, before his version of the Suicide Squad came out, that, he would be supportive of that. And now that he's in that position, maybe, he would probably obviously have he'd play a role in making that decision whether or not for them to release it. This is probably one of my favorite things that I've seen so far from what David Zaslav said during the earnings call. He claims the old WB regime slept by not making any more Superman movies. So, obviously with Henry Cavill returning to DC and the new part of the new leadership being the ones that, Pam Abdi and Michael DeLuca, they were the ones who gave the go-ahead for Superman to return. It's just funny that, they realize that, this is ridiculous. Why wouldn't you be making Superman movies this whole time? You have it just sitting there. He also said, speaking of Superman, we're going to have a real focus on franchises. We haven't had a Superman movie in 13 years, and we haven't had a Harry Potter movie in 15 years. One could argue that the Fantastic Beasts are like spin-offs of Harry Potter, but I guess he's referring directly to the main Harry Potter movies. So yeah, why wouldn't you have a Superman movie for all of these years? Just, actually wanting to do the opposite, getting rid of Superman. So it's good. It's a positive thing for the fans that he recognizes that it's absurd and just doesn't make any sense why you would have arguably the most recognizable character and just not be making movies for him, and kind of doing the opposite, trying to write him out of your cinematic universe. But he's back now. So obviously he said they want to have a real focus on franchises. And he's been saying that since the beginning. He's always mentioning Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, the main Justice League members. So it's not really surprising. It seems like that's going to be a theme when building out, the DC universe moving forward, really focusing on the main members of the Justice League and also bringing in other characters. But since, especially Superman has been neglected for so many years, it makes sense that they want to make that a priority. And I'm super happy about it, and I'm here for it. And, really excited to see all of the interviews that Henry Cavill has been doing for Enola Holmes, and just being really eager and excited to talk about Superman. So wanted to share some of those details from the earnings call. They also mentioned that the Batman was a really big HBO Max success. But wanted to share those details about, what they said about DC. So thank you guys for the support on the channel. Check out any videos you might have missed recently. And hope you guys are having a good week moving into the weekend. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. See you guys soon.